before this term microaggression was introduced 6 months ago, did you ever have things that you would run up against where you were like, oh, I just wish that white people stopped doing X?
Yeah, all the time.
Like what?
Meth.
So Pete Buttigieg, for people who don't know, he sent this out, I believe, to all of his staffers.
He did.
Yes.
The microaggression test.
Oh,
from
that's
Pete Buttigieg.
That's good.
So I want to know if anyone else. We did the white privilege survey a while back. So questions today: have any of you ever taken or been forced to take from your HR department at your office a microaggressions test? And what did you score? I try and set the high score.
Yes.
Like a ping pong machine.
Is that not how it's
racial epithet. Boom, 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 and then I tap it. So, do you still play? Does anyone still play ping? It's lost on you.
It's not
you
ping
and
pong.
your iPhones and your TikToks.
TikTok.
So this comes from Pete Buttigieg, who's obviously been struggling with black voters. I
Pinball.
wonder why. The man is positively translucent, and this was sent out a survey on microaggressions in the workplace. So thank the Lord for the New York Times, because we had the ability to print this out. And apparently, on a 1997 Xerox machine, someone went to Kinko's.
Oldie but goodie, baby. Oldie but goodie.
And this is meant to, it says here, so I want you guys to all take it. We have the link, I believe, in the description.
Okay.
Survey microaggressions in the workplace. Please only fill out the survey if you identify as a person of color.
Identify.
We identify.
Everyone.
Had to think about it.
J'accuse!
Hey, I actually identify as white.
Really?
Yeah.
No, we don't
Oh,
care.
yeah.
We'll never accept you amongst our ranks.
White
So,
is a color, isn't it?
it's a shade.
How dare you, sir?
But
The
that's a
answers
color.
are anonymous and will be used to inform our white colleagues about privilege and microaggressions.
That sounds scary.
In other words, it's not going to the fuzz.
Hold on, can I ask you a
Yeah.
question? How did they decide which ones were white or not white? And this is a legitimate question because
is.
if they have to self-identify, that meant they went around to everyone and they said,
you
okay,
identify?
should you get this email or should you not get this email?
And we
That
should.
sounds like an SS
triggered
thing
by
to
this.
do.
We should know that the answers are a plus minus of about 19% because Rachel Dolezal was counted 4 times. I don't know how she got
Every time.
Every time.
on the Iowa field
She's so
team.
shifty.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hats off to her. She really committed.
It was the weave.
All right, so we will all answer it. But
Okay.
considering that we only identify as people of color, which is about as legitimate as someone identifying as a biological female. But hey, your rules, not ours.
Nonetheless.
I'm primarily going to focus on the 2 people of color, quarter black Garrett and half Asian lawyer Bill Richmond.
Thank you.
And
I
you look
feel-
definitively more Asian than he looks black.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey,
It's-
don't
It
do
just,
that. That hurts.
this is the reason for the test.
Don't
You're just laughing at me.
Don't because
This is a microaggression.
his cousins
This is
are-
exactly right.
His cousins
This is
are
a-
going, he still don't know about the milkman. All right, so most of these
What's the
questions will be
first
directed at
QB?
you. Okay,
This is a
so these questions.
macroaggression.
First question.
Macro.
This is not a beneath the service. Nope,
These are in your
right in your face.
Over the table.
In the workplace, have you ever experienced the following from a white colleague? I appreciate you uniting America.
I know, right?
Together.
Have you ever experienced this
White people.
from a white colleague
That's exactly what I read.
being interrupted or talked over?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Hold on, I want to hear from
I've
Quarter Black
never-
Garrett.
Yes, that's gonna be yes. Yeah.
Yes, both of you. All
I've
right.
never not experienced that.
But what if you had been interrupted by not a white colleague?
Then it's okay.
What happens there?
The universe explodes and everyone votes for Trump. That's what happens.
Before or after the
What-
explosion?
oh, you know what? Screw my rules. I want everyone to answer this because, I'm white. And Gerald,
Really?
you're very white. And then
Thank you.
Audio Wade is, you're whiter than Buttigieg.
Yeah. Can we answer this
But
question in
it's
2
milquetoast.
ways? I want everyone to answer the question both with from a white colleague, but also from a non-white colleague.
Right.
Because I'm fairly certain I've done every one of these to Gerald twice today. So
Pretty much, yeah.
And by the way, as far as the interrupted, it's happened, I would say, 100% of my female colleagues. I always get interrupted.
It's true.
yeah,
Oops.
Gerald, stop interrupting.
Yes.
So who here has, let's see, show of hands. I think we've all been interrupted here.
I've been interrupted.
Like a person.
Yeah.
Who here has been interrupted by exclusively white colleagues? We're really learning something about ourselves.
I only surround myself with
Okay.
The introspection is amazing.
In the workplace,
And
again,
jokes.
Gerald's a Nazi.
It's
let me
obviously
keep the
not true.
through line here. What did you say?
nothing.
Bleep it. Bleep it.
Bleep it.
I can't trust him to anything that he says that goes out to air. Just bleep it. Err on the side of caution. Again, in the workplace, have you ever experienced the following from a white colleague? Have you ever been left off a relevant email chain?
Aw. Sad when that's
Yeah.
Well, this wouldn't have been a question until Obama phone lady.
That's true.
Who's Obama phone lady?
He got us a phone! In other words,
Yeah.
now everybody is
Mitt
being
Romney
excluded from email
sucks.
chains.
Oh.
Turns out she was right in the
Okay,
second
it's
part.
a dated
I mean,
reference.
I'd have to check my email to know.
How do you do that on this paper?
How does someone answer this? Okay, has anyone here ever been left off a relevant email chain?
Yeah.
When you were left off, how do you know?
Yeah. Well, you know,
You don't receive any emails because you were left out of all of them.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
You know
Until
what?
now.
I
don't-
mean, people,
Sad.
I leave myself off relevant email chains. Here you go, guys. Just handle it. I'll be back.
I don't know with the
Yeah,
notifications.
exactly.
I guess let's all
so
say. I mean, I would
stupid.
assume that
Yeah.
all of us were left off of email chains at some
I guess.
point.
Yes.
Certainly, yeah.
Yes.
In the workplace, have you ever experienced the following from a white colleague? I have to read this every single time to make sure. Not invited to a meeting directly related to your job. That happens all the time accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's directly related? I hate to parse words here or like to try to dig deeper.
Then don't.
Really?
Don't do it.
It seems as though
What you're
Moving
doing
on.
is this. What I want you to do is this.
Sorry. Merriam-Webster, shut up. No, Jared, no. But I actually do. I'm going to take that all back and say, Gerald, you do have a correct point, which is what does invite to a meeting directly related to job? The directly, is it related? Who's deciding is it related?
Yeah.
Is everything that goes not exactly your way?
This is what I mean.
That
That's
is
my
boss
point.
referenced this survey
Yes.
with the boss.
Well, no, this
and
is
the boss can't be white because it will be immediately discarded.
It would
Correct.
How do liberals live?
You're
I don't
asking
know.
for people.
I don't know.
You're asking for people to have a problem.
All right, so show of hands, who's ever been not accidentally or
I
premeditatedly
think
not
it was
invited to a
premeditated.
meeting?
White people against me. I'm telling you, it
right.
happens.
Now let me ask you, Quarter Black Garrett and Half Asian Bill, any of these so far, of these three, do you feel like they were due to your race?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Justification.
Well, when I was leading a professional organization of Asian attorneys that would frequently leave me out because I'm half white.
Okay, next one. In the workplace, have you ever experienced Pete Buttigieg? Have you ever experienced the following from a
Ew.
white colleague, in case people are just tuning in? Your idea was ignored, dismissed without explanation.
That's happened
I'd
to me
really
on the
like to
show
move on to a
multiple
different
times.
topic and
Yeah.
ignore Steven entirely.
Yes.
And dismiss
No
it without
explanation given.
explanation.
Specifically because
I think
he
that
is
was
white.
in the contract that we signed to be on the show.
Mayor Pete has never listened to any of my ideas, and he's never given me.
I will say this though. I think that this is like these questions. If the answers are really yes and they're exclusive to, it's just because you're in a crappy workplace. Because
Yeah.
I do feel as though. Like we don't take all ideas, of course. Like in the rule of comedy, out of 10 bits that you may write, or if we do a meet segment,
Right.
maybe one finally makes it to air. But we pretty much hear everyone's ideas.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you laugh at them and mock them mercilessly if they're not
If
funny.
they're
Yeah,
they're
And
not
that
dead.
itself becomes funny.
That's
What-
just
is
you,
this
Gerald.
is this written for like the front office of the Klan? Like it's a black person trying to work? Like that's
Burning
the only
crosses.
place that
Well,
this-
I guess
yeah.
that's a yes.
Yeah,
That's because we did the Home Alone
awkward
sketch.
Yeah.
Really?
It did happen.
Context matters, Pete Buttigieg.
Really relevant.
Like, why was that item up there?
Maybe
We
we're
don't
not the
know.
best to answer these questions.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Again, the survey for people just tuning in. Microaggressions in the workplace. In the workplace, have you ever experienced the following from a white colleague? Someone else taking credit for your idea or insight, even accidentally. Well, how could you know?
wow.
Yeah.
Even accidentally.
My idea. Yeah, burgers every day for breakfast.
Yes. That was you.
And we don't even have a cafeteria.
No.
I know.
You're just going to cater
Wanted
it
us
in.
to bring it in
it
a
in.
motorized cart.
Yes, exactly.
And I stole it.
He was trying to get
Sorry,
a
not
hover
sorry.
round sponsorship just to bring in the burgers.
No, you could have. You could have.
Someone else taking credit for your idea or insight.
There's just they're so vague. I don't understand. Like, yeah, stuff like this happens to everybody.
How do you live?
every day?
Well, I will say this. I am always very concerned. We were just talking about this with Audio Wade not long ago before a run-through, where you guys will be watching the clips, and we do a run-through before the show where we look at the clips to make sure the audio levels are right, and we make
Right.
sure that our talking points are proper, and at least that we're informed. A lot of this it's not run on prompter. Like right now, there is no prompter.
This isn't Young Turks. I mean, come on.
No, it's not Young Turks or Fox Nation, but you often will come up with like a quip watching a clip, just sort of, and it's funny.
Right,
like,
yeah.
hey, remember that, because there have been
Right.
times where I'm like, remember that, bring it in on air, and you don't, and then I use it, and now, because I never want to be that guy who takes it and gets the death glare. It's like, put it in. It was funny. You take credit for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give the death glare, by the way. Yeah.
You do. You do.
Yes.
It's
Do
just
I?
you're not aware of it because of your glasses. They're like magnifying glasses into your empty soul. It's a shark's eyes.
The abyss of your
Devil's
internal cavern.
Farewell, audio waiting for Spanish ladies. Okay, I mean, pretty much we're going to go through these because we still have a segment to do, but they're all going to be yes.
What else we got?
Yes
pretty
is
much.
the answer.
Have you ever, in the workplace, have you ever experienced the following from a white colleague, been called the name of a different staff member of color?
Yes.
I did just refer to you as Bruce Lee just now.
no,
We can
I mean,
rewind
You'd
that.
have to have more quarter blacks.
I had been
for that to
referred
happen, so
to
no.
in a meeting as Carl and Kim Jong-Bill. So, all at once,
Yes.
But I get it.
That's because you handed out name cards.
I did. They said Carl.
Yeah, it was your business card. Been called the name of a different staff member of color. Wait, does that just mean if anyone ever works at your...
Okay, can I actually give you a good example of this? So my mom is from Hong Kong, so she speaks Chinese. In Chinese, the same word, there's one word for he and she. It's just gender neutral.
How do they deal with the transgender thing?
I have no idea. I didn't ask
they have
her.
no problem.
Extreme
Ask her.
confusion.
But I will.
Can I have her on the show?
Yes, I will bring her on the show and she can tell you. But so sometimes, like,
That's gross.
for a while, she would sometimes get confused and miscommunicate the pronouns. And I've often thought that if she was ever in a situation where she had to deal with someone's new pronouns, that her head would explode. It would just be very difficult. But by the same token, like when you think of folks who are, you attribute in your mind what someone looks like, and if you're dealing with the same person over and over again, your mind just says, okay, I differentiate these person in these very, very block type ways, and I give them this name. If someone comes in that has substantially the same very visible block features, you're going to sometimes get those things confused. And I've had colleagues who are minorities who would say, it's not uncommon. We do it with white people all the time.
Yeah.
That's your
Everybody
internalized
does it.
racism.
I saw a man at
so.
Quick Trip who looked just like 50 Cent.
See, there you go.
But it was 50 cents.
But it was.
Did he have the bullet holes?
I think I told her that. I said, hey, has anyone ever told you you look like 50 Cent? He goes, what? Oh, what? Because I'm black? I said, no. He's like, no, I'm just kidding. I get it all the time. He legitimately looks like 50 Cent. Okay.
Other?
What does good... Here's a question. This is concludes the box checking
Question
portion.
time.
This is good. Okay, now we're into
What
short
does
answer.
good allyship look like to you? What does good allyship feel like? Quarter black Garrett, your thoughts?
You know, every time I come into work, I like to see watermelons
Oh boy,
presented to me and fried chicken. That's how I know you guys are
that's
allies.
so racist.
Boy, that keto phase was sure short-lived.
Yes, it was. Is fried chicken not keto friendly?
Fried chicken is fine, I think. Well, no, the
No,
breading.
it's
the breading. that you
It's the
use
breading.
with- You got to go
Gotta
boneless.
go grilled.
Yeah,
And
sure.
Or boneless.
Gotta go grilled.
If you go boneless.
What about you, Bill? What does good allyship feel
Boneless
like?
can be fried.
Not sending me f***ing surveys about microaggressions and further highlighting the difference between me and someone else based on my f***ing skin color.
Right.
Like, there's nothing crazier in my mind than being like, hey, look, I need to get all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you going to decide to divide us? Well, here's a color palette, and if you're on this side, go to that room, and if you're on this side, go to that room. Well, but actually, I grew up in the, I grew up in this area that was like really, really nice, and I have nothing in common, and I've never experienced any of these hardships. Shut the f*** up. Go over there, check the box.
And do you feel that people aren't listening to you because of your race?
No, they don't listen to me because sometimes they say stupid shit. And sometimes they don't listen because what I'm saying is so good and they're stupid and full of shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of
it's
course,
everything
yes.
to do with the substance.
spectrum.
It has
It's a
nothing to do with the skin. How can you say that there's a survey meant to help people look at the content of the character, again harkening back to MLK, and yet all you're focused on is the skin color?
So what does good allyship feel like? I'll put down like a warm hug.
Yeah, warm hug.
Yeah, feels
I would
it.
like a two pat on the back to know when I should release the hug.
Double tap.
Okay.
Well, I think this is redundant because you just answered it. What does bad allyship look like to you?
Surveys.
It seems like
Yes.
Pete Buttigieg. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg and his staff surveys. All right. What does allyship in the workplace look like to you?
What?
What
Oh my
does it
gosh.
feel like?
Hey, I'm just going to say this, and it's not directed at anyone personally, but it's bringing enough water into the office and putting it in the fridge.
I agree with that.
Who doesn't agree with that?
We have
Okay.
a water cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
filling the water cooler then.
Right. Fill in the water cooler. That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, but I like to destroy the environment.
Allyship.
That's true. Yeah, you like the plastic bottles? You and Chris Pratt. This is so redundant. What does
Yeah.
good allyship look like? What does bad
Redundant.
allyship look like? What does allyship in the workplace look like to you? So in other words, you're asking people about microaggressions in the workplace, but you're just asking them about good allyship in general in life?
Yeah. So because they don't know.
I'm so glad
wanna
Pete
know.
Buttigieg's going to lose hard. We have two final questions. This one is a longer one. Again, microaggressions in the
it's a
workplace.
big one.
Think of a moment or moments during which you experienced microaggressions without naming names of the people.
Bill,
You already said
crap.
it's going to be anonymous.
I know.
Without naming names of people, can you name the microaggression? Describe those moments. What was the physical environment like?
It was hot.
If it happened in the ether, for example, in Slack, email, or text, is that constitute the ether?
Wow.
They're trying to
I
like
thought the ether was like nothingness.
Yeah.
Space.
No,
What is this?
It can have little things in it.
All right. Apparently Slack.
Were there
Yeah.
witnesses to it?
Apparently
And will you
Slack exists in the in-betweens of the human dimension.
In the
That's what the
upside
Empress
down.
meant. She meant Slack was coming.
Identify that. Were there witnesses to it? And if so, do you think they recognized it?
Why is the
me.
dash there? Can we show the dash on the camera?
Yeah, no, we should have that as an overlay. We'll have it.
Yeah, there's a dash. This whole survey's
Jared,
fungus.
Jared,
Yeah,
this
why is the dash?
think,
No, it's not. The
Gerald,
dash is
you're
after.
wrong.
The
This
M
doesn't
dash is
matter.
after do. Shouldn't it be before do?
It should be before
Audio wave.
or
You're an
not at
effective
all.
grammatical prick.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
To be clear, I only asked him because he's the whitest one here, so I assume he has stellar schooling.
If he wasn't here, you would have asked
right.
me and been told wrong.
If I wanted to ask how to lose a Rose Bowl, you'd be first.
We don't get to play in the Rose Bowl because,
Orange Bowl?
well,
Dust
it just
Bowl.
depends. Dust Bowl. Yes, that one's much more fun.
Okay.
I'm so
Without
sorry.
naming any names, can you name the microaggression? Gerald breathing. During those moments, what
That's
was the
one of 'em.
physical environment like? A garage studio.
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, let me actually try and frame this in something
Right.
real. And even though I think this is a totally invalid questionnaire, and I think
Yep.
that it divides people by categorizing them by race. Before this term microaggression was introduced 6 months ago, did you ever have things that you would run up against where you were like, "Oh, I just wish that white people stopped doing X"?
Yeah, all the time.
Like what?
Meth.
I don't know why you laugh.
You
That's
guys
real.
started it as the kamikazes.
No, we did it right. You guys just took it to the wrong level.
You guys were doing it and going into Pearl Harbor. They're doing it and just loitering around a liquor store.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
we killed
so-
ourselves. Gotta be
slowly.
productive.
In all honesty, there is not a single thing that I could say to you that I just see white people doing.
Right.
Because inevitably, if you meet enough people of any other race, you're going to see those types of people doing the same type of thing that is disrespectful regardless of their color, right? So maybe of the color of the speaker, right? So if a white person says they're not going to listen to me, maybe it's because of my race, maybe it's not. But you can meet another person of another race and they're going to go, "Oh, I'm Japanese, Chinese, or shitty." Right? I mean, and you're going to be like,
You're
"Oh,
right.
okay, got it.
You're
All
right.
right. Oh, you're not the right kind of Chinese or what?" I mean, there
Yeah.
are people of all kinds of races, and that's why you got to get past that. That's not to say that there weren't people doing racist things, but that's not everyone.
Here's the thing.
Well, and to better serve our I didn't get any of that, but we'll make sure to translate the Mandarin.
It's Cantonese.
watching.
Thank you.
Oh,
So here's the thing. I have a stepbrother. He's full black. He was complaining about how he's always followed in shopping centers. Or people always suspicious about him. I've been pulled over and searched, pulled out of my car. It's
'cause you drive like
It is.
yeah.
Hey, I didn't know you were Asian.
I've been searched like 3 times. He's never been
By
pulled
the way,
over.
you don't have to submit. Having Bill can tell you, don't have to submit yourself to those searches if there's no reasonable.
Yeah, but I'm so
Hey,
cordial. I
sometimes
was
you
like,
just wanna
fine,
be held.
whatever. Yeah, from the back.
Human touch.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
But like he sees it from a perspective of I'm black, so they are doing these things because I'm black.
Right.
Not just I'm a person and
Yeah.
shitty things happen to me because I'm a person.
And that's not
It's
to
life.
say that there aren't that
that the situations don't
Yeah.
happen,
Sure
but
they
that
do.
every single situation.
Right. If
was
you're
not
looking
because
for
of
it every
this
time,
is conditioning
that's a
people.
problem.
This
Yeah,
really is,
it is.
societal re-engineering to condition people to see everything through
see
the
that.
lens of
Right.
race, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did this happen with exclusively white people, and did they do it because of your race? This is actually coaching people to ascribe motive.
Right.
You can't know if it's accidental or not.
And it's also confusing as hell because identifying as a person of color, how do you identify? Like seriously,
Well,
I'm
it's just
not-
they
I'm
have
not
to be
just
careful about that now because even though they used to joke about how transracial isn't a thing, now they have to acknowledge it's a thing lest they lose a voting block.
That's fine, but it's a person of color still, right? So you could
Right.
say you're not identifying. You are 25% black.
Yeah.
That's not an identification. That's a
Right.
fact.
Right.
You know, like so. I'm.
They don't deal in the realm of facts. This survey doesn't deal in the realm of facts. It entirely
really
deals in the
doesn't.
realm of conjecture and projection. Let me give you an idea, too.
That's their whole side.
To put it into context, think about the first time as a white person out there, or as a black person, honestly. We'll use this as an example. You went to an Asian restaurant, like an authentic Chinese restaurant, or an authentic, I don't know, Szechuan restaurant. I'll use, because Chinese American is kind of, the waters are kind of muddied.
Yeah.
But like I remember when I went to a Szechuan restaurant or Vietnamese restaurant for the first time, I didn't know anything. So if I'm confusing terms and I'm confusing names and I'm asking, I'm like, well, that seems like the same thing. I'm still confused as to what the difference is between a quesadilla and an enchilada. I still need someone to coach me on it. That's just because we're exploring new cultures.
Steven.
Anytime you're exploring a new culture or learning about a new culture, there's that impact point where you do have to go through the learning process. And guess what? You're going to be a little bit ignorant. And now we are dissuading people from actually curing themselves of ignorance, because the only way to do that is to make mistakes. The only way to learn to ride a bike is to make mistakes. The only way to learn how to read is to make mistakes. You make mistakes until you figure it out, and it doesn't mean that those mistakes are hateful. This is scary if an entire generation of people are being raised on this ideology.
Right. It's saying, just make sure you remember that if any of these things ever happened to you, it was because of your race.
Exactly.
Right.
It's 100% because you are a color and they are white. That's why.
Don't inquire any further. Just remember, it's you versus them.
Right.
And it's ridiculous.
This is easy, right? Do these two things. Don't walk around looking to be offended in life, and don't walk around being a prick. If both of those things happen, you're going to be just fine.
To quote the great Taylor Swift, there is no such thing as a prick.
That's true.
Or a bitch. or a slut. All right, final question. This one, I don't know. I would argue, seems a little broad. Do you have anything else to share?
We want dirt.
That's the most vague question.
I love this. It's literally like a FBI narc survey. They're like, do you have anyone here that you would like to get thrown into a dungeon?
Anybody
Are
specific,
there any other
Gerald?
white people that you need to tell on?
Well, Mayor Pete.
Well, I don't know. Anything else to share? Any other?
No.
I mean, I guess this is anything with your mom.
I'm just shocked that a white gay mayor from a city that's predominantly black is having a hard time getting the black vote. I think that's just difficult.
As the token white patriarch / boss, I will end it with this. I want to make sure that you understand that I say this, so I do have something else to share, and it has nothing to do. I do not attribute it at all to Half Asian Bill's race, and I would not denigrate an entire race of people because of the actions of one. But Half Asian Bill raped Gerald. I wanted to get that off my chest, and I know
Steven,
we said we wouldn't talk about it, but I think we should get it out in the open. And I know it really.
I've been holding that in, and I'm so glad you did it.
I know. I am so glad too, and it's not because he's Asian. He's just a dominance thing. All right, thank you so much. I don't know. We have something else after this. I hate this survey. Everyone crumpling them up. I can't do this. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe or hit the notification bell in one of these buttons, or watch another video. But you know, the thing is, you don't. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I'd like it if you did. You know, put a lot of effort into it. And, whatever you want.